All right, let's go through the Farm Finder app. And I wanted to start with the app so we can make sure that we see it. So you start here on the home screen. One of the most important parts of this is the continue as guest. I wanted people to be able to just do it quickly without having to create an account. They come in, they can enter their zip code, then search. The markets come up. They can search by nearest or open today. You click on the actual market and you see all the information. You can go to the market vendors for that market and then they come up and you can click on there and then you can actually cycle through the vendors. I have a home button on each screen, and then we have forgot password, reset password, sign up screen. I have a menu button. You can do events, markets, and whatnot, recipes. People can click on the recipe, share the recipe. And yeah, I just wanted to make sure we saw that. So let's start from the beginning. And what is the purpose of the Farm Finder app? Basically, the app is designed so that people can find farmers markets near them as quickly as possible. People are very much conscious and aware of where things come from, what they're putting in their body, and what the source of their food is. So this app serves to be a quick way to find farmers markets near them. My design process is as such: what users want, research the user themselves, who are they, user journeys and personas. Then I did sketches and wireframes, the user interface, the handover, and then my learnings. I wanted to start with a competitive analysis because I figured if there are apps that exist like the Farm Finder apps, what are they doing well? What can be improved upon? And I started there. So here you'll see I did find a couple of apps. One of the biggest things is what I mentioned earlier is that some of them required an account. So they required the person to set up an account, which people don't want to do that. They just want something that they can just click on and put the zip code in and find a market near them. So I made sure that I solved that problem. Then I got into my research. So I did typical interviews, open-ended questions, really got the opinion of people to understand their needs, motivations, and frustration. What I learned from that is that people, like, there really is emotions, or really are emotions tied into this subject. People have given this thought, like, people saying they want to know where their food is coming from, and they have those frustrations of getting to the farmer's market and then things are out of date, which is never a good thing. Same thing with surveys. One of the big ones that stuck out to me is that word of mouth is still one of the biggest ways that people recommend markets to each other. That's a good thing because if they're recommending markets, then they're much more likely to recommend the app, right? So that's a good thing. Then just a couple more questions that I asked. And then I moved into my users. So user personas, I created a couple of personas, and that led me into the journey map, empathy map, and the affinity diagram. So the journey map and the empathy map, very, very similar in that these are my users' thoughts and emotions surrounding farmers markets. And then the affinity diagram serves as sort of a hub where I can group these like items together and really sort of be a reference point, a quick reference point when I need to come back and understand my user. Then I got into card sorting, into the information architecture of the app, where I wanted to lay out what is the most intuitive way to get people from step A to the end. So I did a closed card sort to make it easy for the users. Some tree testing to see how quickly they got from one step to the next. Definitely some iteration I can do on this to improve that time, but overall they accomplished the task. Then I created a site map that gave me a bird's eye view of what the site is going to look like, the app is going to look like, I should say. Then a task flow that shows me the sort of what a user would do from step one to the end. And then a user flow that shows me a very important decision points. That's very, very, very key to let me know where things will be positioned and what's the most intuitive way to place things. And then if you look here, I have an outline of my very early sketch. I have a video here because I believe in speaking things out loud and they'll come true. and then a static version of my sketch. Wireframe, got into some lo-fi wireframe just to make things, create a low commitment for some of the early ideas that I had. And then I started to think about the high fidelity part of the process and what the user interface will look like. Bright colors, not too bright, but also bold and warm colors were my goal. And bold and simple font, easy to read. And then here, I chose a dark background, and you saw that earlier, but I chose a dark background because that's very, very, very popular, easy on the eyes. Accessibility, I used the Able plugin and had to change a couple things. One of the main things is that the contrast ratio was off, so I improved that. And then here you can take a tour. We did that earlier of the Farm Finder app. Usability testing, very, very important part of my process. Gave the app to people, let them try it out, asked them to perform a few tests, find a market near you. Also asked for just overall feedback on the app. A couple people mentioned that the home button would probably be better at the bottom, and I put it at the bottom and put it on every single screen so they have easy access to get back. And then we moved into the handover stage to software developers. I did some software development a little while ago, so I have some empathy for their world, and realized that it's not something I want to do, but that gave me some insight into um, what they need. So I did a quick handout here for them, and this is just from Figma, so it shows the code of and how they can sort of easily update this and tweak in and put it in the language and the method that they use for coding. And then in terms of next steps, so as I thought about my final thoughts of the entire process, I thought about if somebody were going to pick up this after me, what advice would I give them? What could they do? One of the things that stood out is the user personas that I did. The two personas that I did, one person made 140K, one person made 100K. I'd want to do a user persona of someone who makes a low amount of money, have limited resources financially, and see if their needs and wants and motivations would be different from the users that I've created here. Also, I started thinking about how would this app make money? How would we generate revenue? How would we pay our the people who keep the app up, like the developers and the designers? Will there be ads, sponsorships? How would we do that? And then my learning. So one of the biggest things is just that never forget about the user. Always sort of keep the user in mind, come back to the user. And also, I heard someone say this in one of the videos I've watched in design. I am not the user. I'm the designer. So continuing to remember that as I iterate on this design. So that is the Form Finder app. I hope you enjoy the presentation, and I look forward to you enjoying the app once it's launched. Thanks so much.